Yes. What's up, hustlers? It's your girl Raji, and I would like to welcome you to my podcast, The Pretty Hustler. Yes, so if you haven't already, you guys can go ahead and please and thank you. Follow me on social media and Instagram at The Real Pretty Hustler, and check my spot out, The Pretty Hustler Atlanta, on Instagram as well. If you want to get the dope VIP rates, definitely check out my email list on my website. You can sign up at the very bottom of the mobile page, www.theprettyhustler.com. So check that out for beauty tips, deals, and so on and so forth. So last time we discussed, let's see, the come up. So I felt like it was imperative that you guys kind of know how to go ahead and get yourself started, because there are multiple steps that have to be taken so that you can, you know, get started with your hustle and get started with generating some type of income legitimately with that. So today's little session is going to be called the free and freelancer today. So the free part of freelancer is funny. We talk about freedom. We think of it in the sense of, oh, well, I could just do whatever I want to do, and I can wake up when I feel like it. I could just get out there and do whatever. When in reality, being a freelancer without someone reporting to someone completely every day, being a freelancer calls for so much self discipline. It is crazy. So you basically have to ask yourself, am I ready to freelance? Am I ready to exercise that discipline? That is why I believe that it is important to actually work. I don't think that anybody should off the rip just get out there. I think you need customer service training. I think you need to know how to talk to people, and I think you need to have a certain set of basic skills that carry you over, like to get started, like how to do your own bookkeeping, because at first you're not going to be able to afford anybody to do a lot of things, like I was saying in the last episode. And at that point, you got to know how to do it for yourself. So, you definitely need to get those basics intact. Make sure your children are getting those basics. We learned how to type. We learned how to use Excel. If you use Apple numbers, you know, how to work that, how to set up a document, how to send an email, what's the proper way. Like, as a freelancer, you'll be sending a lot of emails. So, you know, you got to learn how to talk to people. What your tags should be, what's professional, what's not professional. Those are things you pick up along the way through experience and training, basic essentials and fundamentals. Um, some things are just common sense in the business. So definitely work on that. Um, you're not ready if you still need somebody to tell you when to get up and when to do things. You're not ready if you don't recognize the value of certain times and having a schedule. You are not ready. You are not ready if you don't know the value of um, budgeting in a way that benefits your business. You know what I'm saying? Of course, there will be times where you will definitely have moments of teachable moments. I like to call them teachable moments. There definitely be times where you'll have teachable moments, but the basics should be covered. Like, you should know how to balance a checkbook, what certain terms mean, the difference between a business and a personal account. Um, just certain things you should know. So if you're not privy in customer service, if you are not um you don't know how to type a basic email or letter with the letterhead, like those are things that you need to be brushing up on before you jump out there. Um, by yourself. You need to be disciplined with your time. And we'll talk a little bit about scheduling as well because everybody's scheduling is different, everybody's process is different at the end of the day. Now, so basically in my world, I decided to freelance because I was a mom. I decided to freelance because I like I operate differently. So I'm an artist, and at the time, there weren't many avenues for what I was trying to do. My heart was always set on having something of my own anyway. So at the time, it was cool. You could be a business person, but right, like now, it's almost like it's cool to be a business owner now. Like that's the thing to say. But freelancing for me is definitely about being able to navigate my own schedule, being able to be around my kids, um, you know, more just having my way with that. That's very important to me. Um, I like to control my pricing, so that's important. I decided to freelance because of that. Freelance definitely because of the love of the thing. I love what I do. And I really want to do it in a way that suits my personality and my lifestyle. So I knew that I had the basic skills to get out there on my own. I knew that with discipline and with process, I could generate a certain amount of sales. Um, I used to work at T-Mobile, and I think I tell this story all the time. But I used to work at T-Mobile, and the goal was like $100,000 collections or more to get the bonus. So at the end of the day, make a long story short, I just made a decision like, hell, if I could make them this much, I could definitely go out here and make myself that much. Um, where I would definitely choose an area of opportunities, sliding it into, like you said, where you're not really working to generate those physically getting up to service. That's my biggest goal. Like I don't want to get up and have to be physically there to make that dollar. Not all of them. I understand and I love the art of what I do and my craft, but at the same time, to reach the heights that I want financially and freedom wise, I want to be able to implement a system where I don't always have to be physically present or awake or whatever to make that. And I somewhat achieved that. So, to me, that's freedom. Your freedom might be something else. Well, that's part of my freedom. So, um, freelancing is not for everybody. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. You know, you got to have a support system in place, which thank God I did. You got to have blind faith in what you're doing. That's why you got to have that purpose. So just definitely consider those things. Now, what was important to me getting into the industry, what I saw happening was creating an independent brand behind your craft or your service. So that's going to be very important. Branding is important. When you get out there and you decide to perform a service or sell a thing or to be a freelancer, you have to somewhat build a presence. And in building a presence, you know, you decide on colors, you decide on fonts, you decide, what does it sound like? What's the tone? Um, what's the tone of my brand? Does my brand have a personality or does my brand speak for itself? And when I say that, I mean like, for example, when I would get booked, I built my brand on the back end at first. Um, I picked up earlier on that people would judge you just severely by the face of just certain little things. And I wanted to get my start, and I've seen other people do it too, but I wanted to get my start just showcasing my skill, my service, what I had to offer. So I was not the face of my brand at first. At first, the Pretty Hustle was like just like a concept, but at some point, people started to pick the phone up and they started to be like, "Hey, can I speak to the Pretty Hustler?" I became synonymous with that. So that's when I decided to make myself the face of my brand. The statistics just rolled in that favor. I paid attention to the numbers, the stats, insights, engagement, and it's taken some getting used to, no doubt, because I don't really, it's that imposter syndrome thing, you know what I'm saying? So it's taken some time to get used to, but at the same time, I know that statistic wise, that's what's going to get me, and it's been proven through word of mouth. So I said all that to say my brand spoke for itself. I was that. I embodied my brand. I feel like that's important. I feel like when you do that, you allow yourself to carry yourself in a way in all facets of life. You're marketing yourself. You are building your tribe. When you build your tribe, you have to appeal to people with like interests, like ways of life, and that's how you do that, by embodying your brand at the end of the day. Um, so that's definitely a key element in deciding, like, okay, this is the specialty of what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm known for. Um, I'm known for being the pretty hustler. I'm known for feminine colors in most of my ads, because most of my ads are going to have some type of pink, purple, neon, something feminine is going to be popping in my ads. I'm more of a bright ad, medium. You like, if you check my stuff, you can correlate. If then that's on purpose, fonts on purpose. So again, giving my brand personality, letting it speak, letting it know in a way without saying, this is by a woman for a woman. In a way, I'm putting that out there. Okay. So, marketing and presence, like when you get ready to build, like we were just talking about, the personality of your brand, what tone you convey, that's going to be very heavy on the type of money you're able to command, what type of people you bring to your tribe. It's your tribe identity. You give your tribe identity by being yourself, basically. If you don't, it's just going to be very hard for you to backtrack, because people pay attention, people pull receipts all the time. So it's like, if you were this person prior to what you believe in, I definitely believe in accepting and noting, like, okay, this is a transition. I'm allowed to transition. I'm allowed to grow. But, again, just be mindful of what you put out there and the type of energy you're choosing to pull into your tribe, because that's going to rely heavily on, your branding and your business build up over time. Like, what are your long-term goals? What do you want to be identified as in the business world? So, marketing is very, very, very important. Be intentional. Be so freaking intentional with it, man. Um, Not to the point where you're stressing yourself out about it, though. But be intentional to the point where you're like, okay, just don't sit up and do whatever. Don't just throw something together. Be aware of what you putting out there in every sense of the word. even like subtle things like statuses, what you discuss the most, um, things of that nature. People are most interested in who you are as a person behind your brand. So you have to be knowledgeable. Like, okay, not saying that you have to be particular, but just know that's a route that you're accepting. That's an identity that you're kind of placing yourself with. So definitely just knowledgeable of that fact. Um, when you are considering getting out there and being a freelancer, it means so much more like being free. Being free means discipline and follow through. Being free in the long term, being free in your finances means being disciplined and prepared. You get what I'm saying? Like, being free does not mean just doing whatever. Being free means setting up processes that allow you to maneuver in a way that's suitable for you. Discipline and follow through. That's what it means to be free. To be free means to be able to be creative as you want. To be free means to be able to go as far as your imagination or your ambition goes. Being free means being able to live your life on your terms without a cap. That's what that means. But in order to get to that point, you have to have discipline and follow through for your hustle. Sometimes I read this article with Oprah once, and Oprah was like talking about how even if you're at home doing a business, which most of us do start off as in a home office, I know I did, second bedroom, corner of your living room, and kitchen, whatever. But she said, like, get up every day and get ready like you're going somewhere, pretty much. Like, don't just linger around. So, brush your teeth, do your hair, you know what I'm saying? You do your thing, don't lay up all day in a certain manner because you're basically subconsciously telling yourself, okay, I'm not really doing shit today, so woo de woo. But I, for example, handle a lot of business from my home. So I make sure, like, I get up, I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I do my process, I do my things, and it does give you a boost. It does change the flow of things. I had to realize, because, okay, like on social media, there's so much influence of how you should do things. Let me just say this. I had to learn over this past year that you have to do what suits you. As long as you are consistent and knowledgeable about your statistics, like, okay, if you're not up during a certain time and you realize that's the most active time that your tribe is working, then you need to be automating your content. You need to be available in a way. Follow messages, auto messages. You need to take the time to do that. If you're a night worker, if you're a more rushed person during the week, you would need to plan ahead. Plan on your off days. Plan on days that you are not servicing people to get your calendar together so that you can move through the week easier. You know, things are already planned. You don't have to really take the time to digest information and facts and all of that. It leaves more open room for you to be available for customer service, your family life, things of that nature. So planning, once you have come up with your purpose and your hustle, planning your day to day is key no matter what time of day you do it. So definitely take those things from those memes and those posts, but do realize, like, what time of the day are you most productive? What time, like if you might be a night owl. I'm more so a night owl, but I've had to convert to being a person that gets up at 5:55 every morning because of the fact that I have a child that's in school. So I can't linger at a certain time because she needs me, or I need to be doing mom stuff or whatever. Or getting ready to go into appointments on any given day. So my process had to shift. Now I do allow myself a little bit more time to do things by scheduling alarms prior to my bedtime, like in my my little Apple thing. And like you could tell it when you go to bed. So what time you need to get up, and it'll tell you when you should go and all that. So how many hours of sleep you got. So I try to like prepare up to the day, basically. Key for me is preparation. It ain't even honestly about my schedule. My scheduling is mostly about Marley, like what time another business might close, and like my clients, what time they schedule. Other than that, I mean, my personal, like my day to day, like when I can exercise is flexible. I might break out in a squat like while I'm cooking. So I just squeeze it in any way I can just because. So you just got to do what works for you at the end of the day. And that's going to take some testing, and don't be too hard on yourself while you doing that. You got to try some different methods out. So, yes, I, once upon a time, when you get out there to freelance, you should have a mentor. And I say that in a way because be following a person that does what you are or is somewhat aligned with what you do, you can kind of see how they do things, see what works for you. You got more than one mentor. Um, a lot of times in the beauty industry, we apprentice. We apprentice because we want to get experience, but we don't have like portfolios yet. So that experience allows you to build your portfolio, your work. You can try out being an assistant, see how it works for you. You would maybe assist several times throughout your career in our industry. Um, Fashion Week is a lot about assisting. So the first thing a lot of people do is they go find themselves a mentor, a person they can assist, things of that nature. So you can learn hands on. That's the best way to learn, honestly. So it's important. It's in the beginning, it's so important. You might develop a time where you move on from a mentor and then pick up another one. So that's just how that works. Be open to that. When to when do you decide to break away from a mentor is key to career growth. If you don't know when, it could like sabotage your career, break your spirit, because sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes you have to love people from afar. Sometimes you have to realize, okay, my brand is growing, or maybe me and this person just simply don't have the same, we don't align, we don't believe in the same thing, we don't have the same work ethic, so on and so forth. We don't deal with people the same way. It's very hard to follow through with a mentor when you and that person don't align. You definitely have to get signs and be open to signs, I should say. Be open to signs of discord, or that you should continue on, or that this is a positive experience for your brand and your growth overall as an artist. Definitely be well aware, be open, have complete discernment. It can make or break you. I can't stress how important that is. Through my own experience, I had a mentor. I sought out a agency when I came to Atlanta. Excuse me. And it was a, I will not say I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I learned who I wanted to be. I learned who I didn't want to be as a boss. I learned who I didn't want to be as a businesswoman, who I didn't want to be as an artist. I learned who like, I looked at it as a positive experience in the manner of, okay, I got a bomb ass resume because I did. I aligned. I got exactly what God intended for me to get out of that experience. Um, and I saw through various signs of things that me and my first mentor here, would not continue to grow on together. So, and I was able to prepare and align myself in a positive way. They sometimes people will have like rules and stuff of like things that they want you to do. Nobody should be bringing you down. Nobody should be disrespecting you. And while they definitely should reap whatever rewards that were previously discussed, they should definitely not be exploiting you, for their own benefit and gain. So if something is agreed upon, then yes, but you really shouldn't even, honestly, you want to know what I really think? I think that you shouldn't be charging nobody to be a mentor. I think that if you're giving out like certain advice for a process or classes, then yes, but like somebody, you're following up under you learning. um I look at that like a boys and girls club type of situation. Now, when I start to give you like in depth professional advice, I don't know, like bartering, when I'm going to talk about that, like that, I guess that's where that would come in. Bartering, do I get to keep pictures of my work? Do I get to put this on my resume? Make sure it counts for you at the end of the day. It was very important for me to have that experience. I learned a lot, like process, how to do, what's not to do, what to do, um, tools, product knowledge, the beginning of my product knowledge, because product knowledge just goes on and on and on. In my professional opinion, you never really, because so much different stuff is being made, you kind of have just to say, okay, this is the product knowledge that I have of what I use for this business or this service or whatever. So, yeah, you begin your journey with a mentor or an apprentice or whatever. Apprenticeship is definitely like something that is built for you to expand and grow. So, apprenticeship is good, but mentorship, that's like soul advice, like big brother, big sister type of situation, or assistant, which was my thing. I say assistant. I assisted when I first got here. You do a lot of free work, and from that free work, I built a resume, I built a portfolio, I built a presence, and I gained experience. So yeah. Um, I want to talk about things you cannot go without as a freelancer. So, this is just law. You cannot go without a hotspot. Most phones come with a hotspot. You definitely need a smartphone. You're going to need an email. You are going to need computer. You're going to need a laptop, because if you only have an iPad, you can't go in and update your own website. It's better to have a computer or somewhere you can get to a computer. You can go to FedEx and use the computer or the library, but some places it costs or you have a time limit. I like use those when I had to, but when I was able to get me a laptop, I made sure I had me one because I like to get up at random times and work or be able to work on the go. So yeah. Definitely look into that. Planners, you need you some type of planner. You need different kinds of planners. Once you get up to the point where you're creating content, you're gonna need you some type of content planner or system of how you would do that. If you can't get a content planner, um, I might like do like a class on how you can like do your structure your notes and structure your book or a regular planner to produce content in that way. I don't know. But I would say definitely get something like that because they have like dates. I use the content planner in addition to my calendars and stuff in my phone, in addition to notes and reminders. So it's a planning is a thing. So definitely seek out apps that work well for you. Look at reviews, processes. I like to write things out, then put it in electronic form. So, everybody got their thing, but definitely have some type of planner to plan forward your goals that you've written out. You need an independent booking structure, independent booking software as a freelancer. Check how much it is. Do they have payment processors, which I definitely want to talk about that a little later. But yeah, do they have payment processors, and what does it include? Definitely compare and contrast like how much it is, what way you want to pay for it, um, and paying per month is cheaper. Plus, to me, sometimes I move around with mine, so I don't like to make a big. At first, I didn't want to make a big commitment. Now I'm with Acuity, which I've been with Acuity for a long, long time. I love them. They have all the features that a girl could want with what I do. And it could apply to different businesses. So definitely check Acuity out if you haven't already. But Wix offers one. You could do more simple ones that don't have as many features. Definitely appealing to your business what you need in that moment. You might not need an advanced system as what I have. You might need something a little simpler because you're a sole proprietor. You don't have, or you're doing it a different kind of way. So like I said, check those features out, compare and contrast, see what are the requirements to have it, because some are more extensive than others, some are easier to get than others. What was important to me was people being able to reserve appointments, automated communication, because I'm solo dolo sometimes, most of the time. So I don't want people to feel like I'm not talking to them, I'm not answering. So automation is really important for me. Um, Excuse me. And I'm like sitting in the same chair from the coffee and blunts, and it's like making so much noise. But anyway, yeah, so booking system is important. That's a way for you. That's the first start of you making money while you sleep. If you have packages available, services available, if you just have services available, what if or invoicing? You feel what I'm saying? Um, Repeated invoice, so you don't always got to be the one getting up sending it out. You might do it one time and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely think about how you want to run your business while you are doing other things, for sure. Have knowledge of what FedEx or UPS stores are in your area to print out business documents. FedEx has a system where you can email in the document you want to get and you can go print it out. You have like, I believe, 24 hours to go pick it up. So I do like my menus, my, you know, let's see, random business cards, aftercare cards. If I need to ship some off, definitely that 2-in-1. You can copy stuff. I have a printer at the house, but like, sometimes you never know what can happen. Like, we had an issue with our printer, so it helped me to know that. And if you don't have a printer, you can just run to your local FedEx, which they usually have those in a lot of metro areas. So, or UPS. UPS, you can get things notarized for $5. You can also have a box with an address for your business, which is important for that Google listing. Um, when they check, sometimes they go in depth to check, but it's worth a shot. And plus, you need a PO box or some type of address for people to sponsors to send things to, your tribe to send things to. So yes, know where your local FedEx and UPS stores are located, your libraries, things of that nature. It will only help. You need a listing or a website, one of the two. You need to have some type of online presence. The world uses Google. The world uses, like, you can use Instagram as a listing, but just know a lot of older clients, if you have older clientele, they are not using Instagram to book. They don't know how, so you need what they used to. Um, make it easy as possible for your client and integrate it. I choose both, but that's again because I like to add a little personality. I like for people to be able to look at my portfolio. And a lot of times people use different search engines. So I have listings and websites stuff everywhere. Because you just never know how people going to come. So you want to give them access. Don't limit yourself. You need basic office supplies, obviously pens, pencils. Um, if you have an iPhone, it's a scanner in the notes, so you don't have to subscribe to a scanning service. You can get a if you don't have a fax, because a lot of times you're gonna have to fax in and receive information. You can get a lot of online faxing services that you can use your phone for. So you don't gotta fax it off. You can fax at FedEx and stuff, but if you got the actual apps, it works. I've done it. It's so convenient when it's time to send out paperwork that you don't got time to run nowhere. Okay? Building a kit, like, so, hmm, actually, you know what? I'm gonna lead it for the next part of this segment. Um, the barter system, no, let's definitely peek into that. The barter system is very important. So what is a barter? A barter is when you say, okay, you're gonna exchange services for services, like, or a thing for service. Whatever the value for that thing and or service, you exchange that equal, like, even swap, even swindle. That's the thing that people say. So that's what kind of the barter system is. Clear agreement, beneficial for both parties. Definitely do your research, see the cost. If they're inflating, don't do desperate bartering. You will only be bitter in the end. The barter system is very important when you start because usually you don't have a lot of money. If you don't have a lot of money to pay for certain services, um, then you limit yourself. But if you're open to bartering, you are able to get your more exposure, more portfolio work, things of that nature. You can even barter like customer service. I barter photographers. Um, when you're an LLC or a corporation, you can actually intern. You can begin to pursue that. So I haven't put that out, but if you want like an assistant, you can intern and offer them credit. So you would just seek out a college student and they get credit, you get a assistant, and bada bing, bada boom. They learn on the job, that type of thing. Be knowledgeable of the forms of payment that you accept. We are moving into a cashless situation. Yes, you should have cash, but we are moving into a cashless situation with Cash App, banking apps where you can move money electronically, business apps where you can move money instantly. You can do big purchase with Bitcoin and Zelle, and just the list goes on and on. It's so much more to it. Um, then, of course, hardly anybody takes checks these days. Nobody's really taking checks. So definitely have cash on hand for change for your clients. Um, if nothing else, have a Cash App, Zelle, some PayPal. Have something where you could take a payment. Um, I have thought of trying out the gas station concept when it comes to gaining more cash for my business. And in that, I mean, you know how gas stations be like, okay, if you do cash, you get it cheaper. But if you do credit, this is how much. That type of flows. I call it the gas station concept. I'm still kind of playing with that idea. Let me know what you think about it. If someone pays in cash, you give them like 10% discount. Does they get more clients, get you more cash access? Let me know what you think about it. You definitely need protection if you're using those types of forms of payment that are electronic. For instance, you need policies in place just in case of chargeback, God forbid. but you need documentation all over the place. Double, triple check because people will break it down to its finest to make it suit them. So be careful about that. Don't get yourself caught up in a situation where you got to come up out of money that you thought you had because you didn't say something you should have said in your policies. People get irritated by policies, but at the end of the day, policies help us so much. And I, for one, developed most of my policies through experience. Some I saw other people doing, and then I just kind of tweaked it in around there, and eventually it did what works for me. Every time something happens that I like, nah, or this needs to be in place, I just add it. So definitely something you do along the way. Um, Traveling. We travel a lot. And I want to swing that into fees actually. When you are a freelancer, you get accustomed to fees like late fees, travel fees, um, and a lot of times when and when not to bill and enforce those fees are going to make or break your relationships with your tribes or your customers. However, research your market, research your price point. How much did it cost you to do such a thing? How inconvenient is it for you, actually? You know, and that's how I would judge it. Because a lot of times you'll do something you see somebody else doing, and that might not work for you. Like I see some people with a $10 fee for something. $10 don't work for me because how I chose certain fees was based on how much I was paying to get to a place, how much my rent was for the day, and how much it cost me to move, how much it costs me to service you. I might not even consider supplies, and some people break that on down in there. But I'm more about when it comes to certain fees, like, okay, if I had came here, sometimes I might do one person a day. My return on investment is usually good, but sometimes I might only be doing you. If you inconvenience me, what would it have costed me that day to rent that space out? What would it have cost? What did it cost me to make it to you that day? I'm realistic in my approach in that way. Sometimes when need to enforce, I'm not a hard ass in the fact of like I realize things happen. I take a real life approach. I'm lenient where matters of empathy and the heart are concerned. What I feel like is real. If I can check, like that's another thing I like about my scheduling system. I can check to see if you open the email. I could check different how many times, when, how, that's important. I look at all that when I think about when to enforce. Did you call or text me? Did my client let me know? Did they talk to me? Did you consider me? Things of that nature. That's what I think of when I think about whether or not to enforce. If I have it on there, it's general, but I'm such a person that is empathetic that that's how I am. It could vary. Traveling for me has to deal with time and cost. Time and cost. I was traveling for a company, and I was like, okay, you might be giving me this, but by the time I get there, my day is over. I can't touch nobody else that day. I'm I have to lug equipment, you know, I may or may not have to Uber. I consider Uber, period. I don't do Lyft, but I do have an Uber account, and I consider Uber in terms of like how much is it gonna cost me to get there and get back to my suite. How far off is it from my suite, from my place of business, or you can do from your home if you leave at home. Um, but be realistic about that because if you do it too low, trying to suit the masses, you come back to bite yourself in the butt. So definitely keep it real. How to decide your rates. Your rates are going to be based on experience, location, and your highest competitor and your lowest competitor. Your highest competitor is going to be the person that charges the most for the services someone similar what you do in your area. And then you need to look for the person that's charging the least. and you need to try to fall somewhere in the middle. That's how you decide your rates. Be realistic with yourself. We were taught to change our rates every 12 months and base that on your experience, certifications you've earned, number of people you've serviced, things of that nature. Supplies, did you get in a new space? Do you use a more expensive product or um, implement a different strategy? So definitely, take that those things into account. Take seasons into account. Take when typically a person's bills are due from your target market. Some people are getting independent income, but definitely take into account paydays, days of the week that are important, rent when their rent is due. Take those things into account when you consider you open yourself up to getting a more loyal, consistent clientele in the long run. Pay attention to the seasons. Time of the month matters so much. Prep for your slow season. Save. Prepare to have different sales and promos. Prepare to do more marketing. Prepare for vacation. Prepare for automation. Prepare with that. So prepare for your seasons. Prepare for your slow seasons. What will you do to increase clientele and knowledge of your brand during slow seasons? We will have a second segment of this because I said I was going to do a building your kit, which I didn't do, and since this is the freelancer section, I am going to talk about that. So, but right now we're going to have a word from our advertisers, hustlers, and I will be back with a building your kit for freelancers and hair and makeup, etc., spa work. How do you do about building your kit when you're servicing a clientele? Stay tuned. Knocking at your door, I don't gotta work anymore. You can. What's up, hustlers? Okay, so I'm back. And in this portion of the show, we are going to talk about building a kit. So that's like your kit is like gold in the freelance industry. You start building your kit bit by bit. Beautiful kits do not happen overnight. I don't care if you buy the best of everything. Some of one brand might not work the same on everybody's skin, everybody's body, everybody's anything, situation, hair. So over time you will develop a kit that works for your specialty and your brand and what you stand for and what you like to use on your clients. But first you need to get the basics of your kit. For makeup artists, that's gonna be your brushes. For hairstylists, that might be your blow dries. A lot of stuff you're gonna get in training. You're usually going to get a basic kit in training. Um, look up training kits. If you need to build it on your own, base it around your budget, kind of do separate ones. I say take a look at an ideal kit that you would use. In your industry and just start to build from there. That's what I did at first. I went for products that I used. I went for products that I read about, sampled, things like that, and things like that I knew I needed. Get your essentials. Your essentials are your services, what you need to perform, what you just what you need to make your money. Your preferred brands, which is what I was speaking of a little earlier. Preferred brands um, say a lot because your clients, your service, your plus customers, they're going to ask a lot. They want to be educated on what's going on. So definitely take into account to what are your preferred brands. They're going to ask for suggestions a lot. Who and what do you use? What's in it? What makes it so great? I would look into getting multi-use products when I was starting out. That's what I did. It saves a lot of money. I'll be honest, but I got like a lot of I got some multi-use and I mixed it up, and I also got some luxury products that I really liked and had used before, like different. But over time, I discovered different moisturizers that I liked. Some more expensive, some not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you should know both ends of what you use anyway, just in case you can't get to your preferred thing. You should know the high and the low of what product you're using. Cause sometimes I don't have time and I gotta run to CVS, so I gotta run the street to the makeup store. Sometimes I got time to order it and wait. So definitely be flexible and be knowledgeable. Experience is everything, but you can be a researcher and look certain things up. So that's how you build a kit. Multi-use products, like you can use in makeup terms, you might have a five, only can afford 5 brushes, but you need to pick the 5 brushes that are gonna be most useful. Like maybe I could double use this brush with something and then use this brush with something else. Again, I'll be honest, it took me about $1,000 to build my kit. I've seen people say over time they built a kit that was worth like tens of thousands of dollars. To start myself off product wise, yeah, it took me about $1,000 to get everything. But there are ways and methods to build the rest of your kit up when you first start. Places we can get good quality products. Um, Definitely do look at reviews and think about what works best for you and your specialty. What you carry your kit in is very important. Um, I, for one, got to the point where that big ass makeup case got to be too much to lug around on freelance projects like photo shoots and stuff. It's good for storage though, if you don't have to go far with it. Definitely carry out bags, day bags, um, storage compartments is important. Can you break it down? You do need an idea of something if you're going for a bigger job versus your smaller kit. So think about carrying in forms of that. Make sure all your stuff is safe and positioned correctly, because the horror of breaking an eyeshadow or a gloss or something of that nature, body butters, whatever. Definitely make sure you have something sturdy and a small thing to carry stuff in and a big thing to carry stuff in. If you're going to be flying, you need to be thinking about how you're going to transport stuff and do things in travel form. Or maybe you look up kits and different, um, like travel kits that work for your product. Well, you already have the job planned out that might work for you. My suite, we will go out and get things for you guys though. If you were to come freelancing at my suite, you could just select the option to purchase. So I don't know if a lot of spas suites are like that, but we at the Pretty Hustle Atlanta, we have it where you flying in, because most of the time that's an inconvenience to people. So I have good back bar and the option to go out and get what you need upon arrival, so you don't have to be bothered with traveling and paying those fees. So that is the gist of the of the building the kit part of this. I definitely hope you guys got something out of today. You got yourself some good notes as far as getting your freelance on in the industry. If you have any ideas of things that you want to discuss, any questions, reach out to me via email or DM or social media, and I will look into it and see what's popping. Don't forget to follow me Instagram at the Real Pretty Hustler and the Pretty Hustler Atlanta for the spa, guys. And I have a birthday sale going on now, so if you are listening to this in the month of March, Tuesday and Wednesday, I have March Madness sales. Check those out. Um, Also, we are on ClassPass now, so once it launches in the next week, 2 weeks, If you have class pass, you can come get pretty cush facials and lash extensions done with your class pass credits at the spa. So check into that, guys. Um, yeah, so thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being present in this moment. You guys have a great rest of your week. We'll see what we can do with the coffee and blunts for the mañana in the morning, man. We're going to check it out, see what we can do. But you guys have a good rest of your day, and holla.